What's up, everyone? Today is September 3rd. It's the third trading day of the month, and it's the last day of the trading week today. And so I haven't been making recap videos for every single trade I took this week, but I decided since it's a Friday to, go over a couple of setups that I took. I'll go over two of them which worked out, and then I'll also go over a losing trade just to give you insight of why I took that trade, why it wasn't an A plus trade, and then on my winning trades, I'll go why they were A plus trades, why they worked out, my scale outs, and all of that. Okay, so I'm thinking. So I'll cover in my winning trades uh, DOCU and probably Amazon. And in my losing trade, I'll go over with Shopify. So I did take more trades this week. I'm just covering these ones because I feel like these are the most major trades I took, and I feel like people can gain the most insights out of these three trades which I took. Okay, so let's go down to a higher time frame first, 1 hour chart. I'll start off with one of the winning trades. I'll start off with Amazon. Again, I've been getting really, really positive feedback about. I've been getting really, really positive feedback about my starting from a blank chart. So I guess I'm just gonna create an Amazon blank chart and then we'll go from there. Okay, so as always, start with the daily time frame. I took Amazon on Monday, so Monday would be it was this day 8:30. It was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So starting from 8:31 all the way till September 3rd, you can ignore. Pretend that this is the day which I took the trade. This is 8:30 is when I took the trade, so I'm only gonna draw zones which are applicable until 8:30. First thing I have is this daily demand. Just to save time, I'm not gonna extend it all the way, and I'll mark it as daily. As always, after daily, just go down to other time frames. 4 hour, yeah, like this. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. This isn't the strongest 4 hour to be honest, but I'm still gonna mark it just because it does validate as a rally-based rally. So that right there is 4 hour. I just keep on working my way lower. 3 hour. Yeah. This is definitely valid 3 hour zone. I'll just go ahead and extend this to. So the main thing is, I'm stacking up demand as I move higher. And now I'll look for some supply zones. This right here is a very, very small 3 hour supply, but I'm still gonna go ahead and mark it because for me this counts as a basing period followed by an aggressive drop. Let's go ahead. Validate. Okay, so now I have all my zones drawn out. Yes, there are more zones drawn here, but as I said, I'm only looking till data from 8:30. So now after I have all my zones drawn out, I will go to a 1 hour chart with extended hours off and draw areas of interest. So the level I have been watching for a very, very long time. So 3389. Let's go ahead and say 3388. So why is this a valid level for me? So there were a couple of things I liked about Amazon. I'm just gonna go ahead and mark this level as resistance. So let's zoom out first. So you have to understand the full picture of Amazon. So Amazon had earnings. I think they were good, but it still gapped down 300 points. And what did it do when it gapped down that much? It left this huge gap to fill. And what's always going to happen is gaps will always get filled. So this gap was eventually going to get filled. On top of that massive gap, I saw this 3389 level act as resistance 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So what is resistance? Resistance is just a line or a general area where price is struggling to get above. So every time we hit this 3389 level, shown here, price failed to get above. It happened 1, 2, and it happened 3 times. So knowing that, I knew Amazon was weak, so I wasn't really looking at any plays. But then what I saw, I think it was August 23rd, I saw Amazon start to catch momentum to the upside. So from August 23rd all the way till August 27th, which is a 4-day period, Amazon had moved about 150 points. So in 4 days, that's a pretty good amount for Amazon. And on top of that, if you go to a 1-hour chart, you can see that Amazon was making higher lows once again. So this was the first low right here, the second low here, third low right here, fourth low here. So with Amazon being strong, having a gap to fill, no fresh supply above. A couple of you might be wondering, okay, there's this 3-hour supply right here, but keep in mind that this level was above the supply zone. So I don't have any fresh supply above my level. So that means with this huge gap, Amazon has a good chunk to run to the upside. So that's the complete higher time frame analysis. If I just go to a 5-minute, I can quickly go over my entries and exits. I remember on this day, Amazon and Qs and SPY were all super strong. My entry was a little bit, what do you call it? It was a little bit rushed. I entered here. I talked about how I don't really like high day breaks, but I did see clear momentum, so I decided to enter. The better entry, in my opinion, was just to be a little bit patient. Just wait till we hit the 3389 level and then enter. But nonetheless, the idea was there. It was a good play. So I entered here, especially after seeing the strong volume on Monday. I mean, this volume on, this volume here, I really liked it compared to the previous days at least. So I had everything I needed. I had volume, I had strong cues, I had my level. So I entered here. As I said, the better entry would be here. I also sized down. I only played 2 contracts, so my scale outs were not the best. So we had the nice move through here. I took my first contract off as we broke the level at 3389. And then I told myself, okay, so what are some good targets? Knowing that we have a gap to fill, targets are a little bit hard. What do I mean by that? On a 1 hour, we have this huge gap to fill, as I said, so it's really hard to find targets. So I was just looking at psychological levels. So the first one was the 3400 level. You know, 3400 is a major level. We're going to have difficulty getting through it. We're not going to get through it right away. But then what I saw was this clear 5-minute rally, base rally through 500. And knowing I only had 1 contract left, as I said, I only played 2. As we spiked through 3400, I took my last one off here. So I'm not sure of the winning percentages. I believe that I netted around, I think it was close to 40% on this trade. But what I missed out on was this monster move here. And you know, there were very, very lower wicks. So honestly, there was zero reason to sell. These were super thick bodied green candles supported by volume. So there was no reason to sell. But you know, when you're playing 1 contract, when you're playing 2 contracts, scale outs are a little bit difficult. Now I'm in a much better position where I can, you know, play 3 or 4 contracts. So definitely looking to size up again, especially because I have been consistent for the last, I think it's been like 7 weeks now, because this week ended. Yeah, I think it's been 7 or 6 weeks since I've been consistent. But nonetheless, this was a trade. It was a good trade. If I had played 3 or 4 contracts, then yeah, definitely I would have let one right here. And then as we pushed above here and failed, I may have stopped out again right here. But that was my play with 2 contracts on Amazon. It was a pretty solid trade. Now let's go over the play I took today. It was on DOCU. This was a impromptu last-minute play. I didn't even have DOCU on my watch list today. The person who alerted this to me, his name's Sam. So if you watch this video, Sam, thank you, because you made my Friday, and yeah, you put me in a really, really good spot for September. Okay, so I honestly didn't have many zones charted out for this either, because you know it was impromptu. But let's go ahead and go to a blank chart. And this is kind of my first time drawing zones out for for today as well, so you can see exactly what I'm thinking in real time. As always, I'm going to start with the daily time frame. So this candle happened today, so this is definitely daily demand right here. Now let's go to 4 hour. Let's go to 3. And the reason I'm able to go through zones so quickly is because, you know, I've been doing this for months. I'm pretty sure I've been doing this for a year now, so it just comes with practice. I did have this 90-minute supply zone here, but as you can see, price went through it, so not valid for me. So the main thing I'm looking for is not so demand. You know, we do have demand here, but price is very, very far away from it. We did have this 1 hour supply here. The reason I chose to ignore this supply zone was because this supply zone was used. What do I mean by that? So you can see that we had a clear 1 hour supply, you know, upper wick followed by a nice drop, followed by a continuation drop. But the reason why this supply zone was invalid for me, or not invalid, I would say irrelevant for me, is because you can see that price clearly came and tested this 1 hour supply. So you have to think about it. If you're an institutional trader, you short the market here, you have unfilled orders. Most of them got filled on this first test here. So now that most of the unfilled sell orders are now sold, you know, there are very, very limited sell orders placed inside of this box. Hence, it is very, very irrelevant for me, I would say. So that's why this supply zone was irrelevant, and hence why I'm not going to keep it on my charts anymore. So that is the demand and supply aspect of the higher time frame. So now let's go down to a 1 hour chart, which I'm on, and let's identify some very, very important key levels. So the first level, and you know, the most important level, is obviously all-time highs. You have to put yourself from an institutional and a retail trader's perspective. Retail is looking to take this long above all-time highs, which is 314.76. So for us smarter traders, 314.76 in my opinion should be a target, or at least a partial target. So the level I was interested getting long at was 308.8. And I'll tell you why this level was very significant. Put 308.8 here. So it's a little bit unclear, but we did reject here numerous times. What I mean by reject is that we failed to get above this 308.8 level numerous times. And then we had some more precise touches. We had one right here. And then again, what really validated it was this second touch right here. The high of this candle was 308.74. So just that general area, I like 308.8 better. So now that I have my zones drawn out, now that I have my key levels drawn out, now that I have my targets drawn out, all I do is I just execute the trade. So if you go to a 5-minute time frame, you can see numerous things. What really caught my attention is, I mean, look at this volume right here. So volume is the #1 most important thing in my trading specifically. I can go ahead and say that with like 90% confidence for other traders as well. All of the consistently profitable traders, the #1 thing they use is volume, price action, and you know, price imbalances. I do see other traders using MACD, you know, RSI. I was one of those traders at one period of time. But you have to keep in mind that those are lagging indicators. All you really need is price and volume. And what this volume told me compared to the previous days, you can see that every single candle was higher than even the 930 candles of the previous days. So what this was telling me is that buyers are completely in control. Yes, we did have upper wicks, but this volume was just too big to ignore. We pushed up to the level, we rejected right here. I was waiting for some sort of 5-minute RBR structure, but what really caught my attention was this lower wick. So we were attempting to put in a 5-minute RBR. However, you know, buyers stepped in immediately and then took us higher. So it's really standard stuff. My entry is not confusing at all. All I did is I had my level drawn. I saw the volume, I saw the price action, I saw this lower wick, and then as soon as we broke above the level, I entered 3 contracts at 3.84. So a couple of you may be asking me like, okay, isn't this a bit too extended? We're already up 3-4% on the day. You have to keep in mind that if a stock is truly strong, then the average ATR of it isn't really going to mean shit. In simple words, because if a stock is strong, then it's definitely going to go past its ATR. Also, we did have multiple green candles, but there were a couple of doji candles in between. So I counted this as some period of consolidation. So I did take it as we broke this level at this 308.8 level. I entered 3 contracts at 3.84. My first scale out was so we broke through this, and then as soon as we started spiking on this next candle, I tried putting a limit at 5, didn't get filled. So I think I marketed one out. So I entered 3 at 3.84. I took one off here at 4.96. So at this point, I'm thinking, okay, hold up, we are way too extended. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green candles in a row with no period of consolidation. So you combine that fact with the fact that it's a Friday, I'm going to scale out more aggressively. So if that was a little bit confusing, let me try to explain in more simple language. The market is always going to move from periods of imbalance to balance, and from periods of balance to imbalance. So when we have 6 green candles in a row, the probability that we have a 7th or 8th one is very, very low. We're going to need some sort of red candle, some sort of consolidation period before moving higher. So you mix that fact with the fact that, what do you call it? You mix the fact that we need some consolidation with the fact that it's a Friday. Why does it being a Friday matter? It's because options expire today. So any sort of pullback will completely destroy your premiums. Okay, so I took one. So I said I took one off at 5, and then as soon as price was lagging around here, I took another one off at 5. I just said why, because we're going to need some sort of period of consolidation. So I wanted to lock in $300. I wanted to scale out a little bit more aggressively, and then my final target was all-time highs. As we pushed through all-time highs and failed, I took my last one off here at 6.36 from an entry of 3.84, which is it's a beautiful move. It's not 100%, but it's close to it on the last contract. So overall, I netted around $636 on a 1K investment, which is just phenomenal in my opinion. Yes, it's a Friday, could have been a little bit more, but I think I played this near perfect. If I did play, 5 or 6 contracts, then yeah, I would have let some. I would have let some more ride, and I probably would have got stopped out here because there's always a potential that we can move higher. So that's why it's always good to have some runners. Okay, I think it's a 20-minute video, so I'm not really gonna go over the Shopify loser. Also because for the Shopify loser, a lot of it came from NQ. But I'll briefly go over it. The level I was watching was 1576. This is at 1583 now because I moved it. But essentially, I tried entering above 1576. My main mistake is that NQ was weak and had no fresh demand below. So I entered here, and then I think I got stopped out here. Again, it wasn't a huge loss at all. It took $100 loss, and you have to keep that in mind with the fact that I just made $600 on Friday. I made like $400 on Monday from Amazon. I made a couple $500 somewhere else on UPST. So taking $150 losers is okay. Taking losing trades is part of the game. But this losing trade was avoidable. I'm not gonna go completely in depth about it, but keep in mind that your best trades come when NQ and ES are strong. So when NQ is weak, you really need some sort of fresh demand below for NQ to bounce off of. But when there's no fresh demand below on NQ and NQ continues lower, then that means stocks like Shopify, Tesla, Amazon, Apple are also going to continue lower. So I disregarded that fact because of how strong Shopify was in the first 5 minutes, but I learned my lesson. So that was my losing trade on Shopify. If you have any more questions about my losing trades, you learn the most from losing trades. So if you have any questions about any of my trades this week or any of my losing trades, just hit me up on Discord. or post a comment, and I may make a separate video on it depending if people are interested. But as always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to put a little bit more time in YouTube. And if I see good responses, then I'll start editing videos and maybe even trading live. But I hope you guys had a good trading week this week, and we will be here next week to capitalize as well.